My friends, we live in a world where people are quick to speak, quick to post, quick to share their every thought, fear, and plan. But the Bible teaches us that wisdom is found in restraint. There are things in your life that are sacred, things that are meant to be held close between you and God alone. The first thing you should never share is your deepest weaknesses. Not everyone is meant to carry your burden. Some will pretend to care only to use your struggles against you. Even Jesus, in his most difficult hour, prayed alone. He did not seek validation from the crowd. He sought strength from the Father. The second thing you should keep to yourself is your future plans. How many dreams have been crushed because they were shared too soon? Not everyone will celebrate your calling. Some will plant seeds of doubt, and before you know it, you start questioning the very thing God placed in your heart. The Bible says in Proverbs 16:03, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans." Trust Him with your dreams before you share them with the world. The third thing to guard is your good deeds. When you do something kind, do it for the glory of God, not for the applause of men. Jesus himself said in Matthew 6:03, "But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Let your kindness be a quiet offering to the Lord, for He sees what is done in secret and will reward you openly." The fourth thing to never share is your personal struggles with just anyone. Some battles are meant to be fought in the presence of God, not in the court of public opinion. Pour your heart out to the one who understands. When Hannah wept for a child, she didn't tell the whole town. She took her sorrow to the altar, and in due time God answered. There are moments in life when we feel the weight of our struggles pressing down on us, making it tempting to share our burdens with others in search of relief. It is natural to seek comfort, encouragement, and understanding from those around us. But not everyone is meant to carry the weight of our deepest weaknesses. The world is filled with different kinds of people, some who genuinely care and want to help, while others are more interested in using our vulnerabilities for their own gain. This is why it is important to be mindful of who we confide in, for not everyone will lift us up in times of trouble. Trust is a delicate thing, and once it is broken, it is difficult to repair. When we reveal our deepest weaknesses, we are giving others access to the most fragile parts of our hearts. The problem is that not everyone has the wisdom or the kindness to handle that responsibility with care. Some may listen, nod, and appear understanding, but behind closed doors, they spread our weaknesses like wildfire, turning our struggles into gossip. This kind of betrayal can be devastating, leaving us feeling even more isolated than before. It is a hard lesson to learn, but it is a necessary one. We must be discerning about who we open up to, choosing only those who have proven themselves trustworthy over time. There are also those who, rather than offering support, will use our weaknesses as weapons. They may pretend to care, but deep down they see an opportunity to manipulate and control. Some people thrive on knowing they have power over others, and when they discover our struggles, they may subtly remind us of them in moments of vulnerability. This kind of emotional manipulation can keep us trapped in a cycle of self-doubt, making it even harder to overcome our struggles. Instead of allowing others to define us by our weaknesses, we must turn to those who will encourage us, build us up, and remind us of our strength rather than our failures. Not everyone is equipped to handle the weight of another person's burdens. Some may have good intentions, but lack the emotional or spiritual maturity to provide the right kind of support. Instead of lifting us up, they may unknowingly bring us down by offering misguided advice, responding with judgment, or failing to understand the depth of what we are going through. This can lead to frustration and disappointment as we realize that even well-meaning people are not always capable of carrying our burdens with us. In these moments, it becomes clear that there are certain struggles we must take to God alone. Even in friendships and close relationships, there is wisdom in keeping certain weaknesses private. Human nature is unpredictable, and even those who love us can, in a moment of anger or frustration, use our struggles against us. Heated arguments can bring out the worst in people, and words spoken in anger can cut deeper than any physical wound. The more someone knows about our weaknesses, the more they have the ability to hurt us when emotions run high. This does not mean we should live in fear of opening up to others, but rather that we should be cautious about how much we share and with whom. There is also a risk in becoming too dependent on others for emotional support. While it is comforting to have someone to lean on, relying too much on another person can create an unhealthy dynamic. No one is meant to carry our burdens completely, except for God. When we place all our emotional weight on another human being, we risk overwhelming them, and we may find ourselves feeling lost if they are no longer there to support us. True strength comes from within, and while support from others is valuable, we must learn to stand firm in our faith and resilience. Confiding in the wrong person can also lead to unnecessary fear and anxiety. Some people respond to vulnerability with negativity, feeding our doubts instead of encouraging our faith. When we share our weaknesses with someone who lacks wisdom, they may respond with worst-case scenarios, discouragement, or personal bias. Instead of helping us find peace, they may leave us feeling even more burdened than before. Surrounding ourselves with people who speak life, faith, and hope into our struggles is crucial. The right voices can remind us of God's promises and help us see beyond our weaknesses. It is important to remember that just because we struggle with something does not mean we have to share it with others in order to heal. Some battles are meant to be fought in prayer and solitude. God sees our struggles even when no one else does, and He is the only one who truly understands the depth of what we are going through. When we bring our weaknesses before Him, we are met with grace, love, and the strength to overcome. He does not use our weaknesses against us, nor does He betray our trust. Instead, He offers the peace and wisdom we need to navigate our struggles with courage. In a world that often pressures us to be open about everything, wisdom calls us to be selective about what we share. Not every listening ear is a caring one, and not every person we trust will handle our vulnerabilities with kindness. Being mindful of who we confide in is not about being secretive. It is about being wise. It is about protecting our hearts, guarding our peace, and ensuring that our struggles are placed in the hands of those who will uplift rather than tear down. True strength is found not in how much we share, but in knowing when to remain silent and seek guidance from the one who knows us best. Your dreams are precious, delicate, and deeply personal. They are the seeds of your future, planted within your heart by God, waiting to grow and flourish in their own time. Yet, one of the greatest mistakes many people make is speaking about their dreams too soon. There is something powerful about keeping your plans close, protecting them from unnecessary doubt and discouragement. When a vision is still in its early stages, it is vulnerable, much like a sprouting seed that has just begun to break through the soil. Exposing it too early can invite negativity, skepticism, and even unseen forces that work to hinder its growth. Not everyone will understand your dreams, and not everyone is meant to. Some people view the world through their own limitations, and when they hear of your plans, they respond not with encouragement, but with doubt. They do not always do this intentionally, but rather because they cannot see what you see. Their own experiences, failures, and fears shape their perspective, causing them to project their limitations onto you. If you are not careful, their words can plant seeds of doubt in your mind, making you question whether you are capable of achieving what you set out to do. What was once a dream full of excitement and possibility can quickly turn into a burden weighed down by uncertainty and fear. Doubt is a powerful force, and it often comes disguised as concern. People may tell you they are only trying to be realistic, or that they are protecting you from disappointment. They may list all the reasons why your plans might not work, why the road ahead will be difficult, and why you should consider something safer or more conventional. While advice can sometimes be valuable, not all counsel is wise, and not all opinions are rooted in faith. If you allow the wrong voices to influence your thinking, You may find yourself hesitating, second-guessing, and eventually abandoning the very thing God placed in your heart. There is also the risk of speaking about your dreams in environments where they are not valued. Some people do not just doubt your vision, they actively work against it. Jealousy is real, and not everyone wants to see you succeed. Some may pretend to support you, only to discourage you behind your back. Others may take what you have shared and use it for their own gain, taking credit for your ideas or creating obstacles in your path. This is why wisdom calls for discretion. Not everyone is meant to hear what God has placed within you, and not every dream should be spoken aloud before its time. Timing is everything. There are moments when silence is more powerful than speech. When Nehemiah set out to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, he did not immediately announce his plans to everyone. Instead, he moved quietly, assessing the situation, preparing in secret, and revealing his vision only when the time was right. This wisdom protected his mission from unnecessary opposition and allowed him to complete the work God had called him to do. There is a lesson in this for all of us. Sometimes our dreams need time to develop, to grow strong enough to withstand opposition before they are shared with the world. There is also a spiritual dimension to guarding your future plans. The enemy does not attack what is not a threat. When you begin to step into the calling God has placed on your life, resistance often follows. The moment you speak about your vision, you invite both support and opposition. While encouragement can be uplifting, the negativity and resistance can be draining. It is wise to allow your dreams to take root in faith before exposing them to the external world. Nurture them in prayer, seek guidance from God, and allow Him to open doors in His timing. There is beauty in quiet preparation. When a dream is kept close, it remains protected from unnecessary scrutiny. It allows you to focus on the work rather than the opinions of others. It gives you the freedom to make mistakes, to learn, and to adjust without the pressure of outside expectations. Many people announce their plans prematurely and then feel obligated to meet the expectations of others, even when circumstances change. This can lead to unnecessary stress, frustration, and sometimes even the abandonment of a dream that simply needed more time to develop. Confidence in your vision does not require public validation. True faith in your dreams means trusting that they will come to pass even when no one else sees them yet. The greatest achievements often begin in silence, built through patience, dedication, and perseverance. History is filled with stories of those who worked quietly behind the scenes, refining their craft, preparing for their moment, and only revealing their work when it was ready. This approach not only shields the dream from negativity, but also allows it to emerge fully formed, strong enough to withstand whatever challenges may come. The temptation to share is understandable. We all desire support, encouragement, and validation. But true confidence comes from within, not from the approval of others. The strength of a dream is not in how many people know about it, but in how deeply you believe in it. Protect your vision, nurture it with faith, and allow it to unfold in the right time. When the moment is right, when the foundation is strong, when God has paved the way, the world will see what He has been preparing all along. Until then, move in silence. Trust in His plan, and know that the greatest dreams are often built in quiet places. True kindness is an expression of the heart, a reflection of love that expects nothing in return. When we do good for others, it should come from a place of sincerity, not from a desire for recognition or praise. The world often teaches that good deeds should be seen, acknowledged, and celebrated, but God calls us to a higher standard. He desires that our kindness be genuine, done in secret, and given freely, without seeking validation from others. When we give with the intention of being noticed, we shift the focus away from the act itself and onto ourselves, diminishing the purity of the deed. There is a deep fulfillment that comes from giving in silence. When no one knows about the kindness we have extended, it remains pure, untouched by pride or the need for approval. In that secrecy, God sees, and He rewards in ways far greater than human praise ever could. The approval of people is temporary, fleeting, and often unreliable. One day they may applaud, and the next they may forget. But when we seek only God's recognition, our good deeds carry eternal value. The need for acknowledgement can be a dangerous trap. It is easy to fall into the habit of doing good only when others are watching, measuring our kindness by the response it generates. This mindset shifts our focus from true generosity to self-promotion. Acts of kindness should not be performed as a means of gaining admiration or elevating our status in the eyes of others. If we give only when we expect to be praised, our giving is not truly selfless. It becomes transactional, driven by the desire to receive something in return, whether that be compliments, social approval, or a sense of superiority. There is a difference between inspiring others through kindness and seeking attention for it. Some may argue that sharing good deeds encourages others to do the same, but there is a fine line between inspiration and self-glorification. The heart's intention matters. If the motive behind sharing is to point people toward kindness itself, then it serves a noble purpose. But if the goal is to draw attention to oneself, then the act loses its meaning. True kindness does not seek the spotlight. It works quietly, content in knowing that the deed itself is enough. When we seek praise for our good deeds, we risk losing the deeper reward that comes from giving with a pure heart. The joy of selfless giving is far greater than any applause or recognition from people. There is an indescribable peace in knowing that we have helped someone simply because it was the right thing to do. That kind of giving reflects the heart of God, who blesses in secret without expecting anything in return. He provides, He loves, and He gives abundantly even when we do not acknowledge Him. As His children, we are called to embody that same spirit of generosity. Good deeds done in secret build character and humility. They remind us that kindness is not about being seen, but about making a real impact even when no one is watching. A truly compassionate heart does not need an audience. The best acts of love are often the ones that go unnoticed. The quiet sacrifices, the unseen moments of generosity, the prayers lifted in secret for someone in need. These are the actions that hold true value in the eyes of God. In a world where social media has made it easier than ever to display acts of kindness for all to see, there is wisdom in choosing silence. When we resist the urge to broadcast our good deeds, we free ourselves from the need for external validation. We shift our focus from what others think to what truly matters, serving with a heart of love. It is a humbling reminder that we do not need recognition from people to make a difference. Even if no one sees, even if no one thanks us, the kindness we show still matters. There is something sacred about an unseen act of goodness. It carries a deeper meaning when done for no other reason than love. The moment we remove ourselves from the equation and give freely, without expectation, we align with the true spirit of generosity. That is where real joy is found, not in the applause of others, but in the quiet knowing that we have done what is right. God sees what is done in secret. He knows the heart behind every act of kindness. When we give without seeking recognition, He blesses us in ways we may not even realize. Those who chase human praise receive only momentary gratification, but those who give in silence receive a lasting reward. The blessings of God are far greater than anything people can offer. He rewards not just the act, but the heart behind it. True kindness does not need to be announced. It speaks for itself. It leaves an impact that goes beyond words, changing lives in ways that often remain unseen. A single act of love, done with sincerity, has the power to create ripples that extend far beyond what we can imagine. The world may never know the good we have done, but that does not make it any less meaningful. It is in those quiet, hidden moments of kindness that we reflect the heart of God, touching lives in ways that only He can truly see and reward. Life is filled with challenges, hardships, and personal struggles that weigh heavily on the heart. At times it is natural to seek comfort and understanding from others, hoping that someone will truly listen and offer guidance or support. However, not every ear that listens is a heart that understands. Some battles are meant to be fought in prayer, not shared with the world. While sharing burdens can bring temporary relief, placing them in the wrong hands can lead to disappointment, judgment, or even betrayal. There is wisdom in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent, trusting that God understands even when others do not. Human understanding is limited. Even those with the best intentions may not fully grasp the depth of another person's pain. Words meant to comfort can sometimes fall short, leaving a person feeling even more misunderstood and alone. Not everyone has the ability to offer the kind of support that is truly needed, and not everyone is equipped to carry the weight of another person's struggles. This is why turning to God in prayer is often the best path. He listens without judgment, He knows the heart without explanation, and He provides strength when human support falls short. People respond to struggles in different ways. Some listen with genuine care, offering encouragement and a safe space to be vulnerable. Others listen out of curiosity, not because they truly care, but because they are drawn to the drama of someone else's hardships. Some may even use personal struggles as a way to gain power, spreading what was shared in confidence or offering advice that is more harmful than helpful. This is why discernment is crucial. Choosing carefully who to confide in can make the difference between healing and additional hurt. Not every struggle needs to be spoken aloud. Some burdens are meant to be carried in quiet faith, surrendered to God rather than exposed to the opinions of others. The world often encourages openness, but there is a difference between healthy vulnerability and unnecessary exposure. Sharing too much with the wrong people can lead to regret, especially when words are taken out of context or used against someone later. There is strength in knowing when to withhold personal struggles, trusting that God sees and understands without the need for human validation. There is also a danger in seeking comfort from those who lack wisdom or spiritual maturity. Some advice, though well-meaning, can lead a person further away from healing rather than closer to it. The wrong words at the wrong time can deepen wounds instead of bringing peace. People may suggest temporary fixes, distractions, or solutions based on their own experiences rather than what is truly best. But God's guidance is perfect, His wisdom is unmatched, and His understanding surpasses all human reasoning. When struggles are brought to Him in prayer, there is no risk of misguided advice, only truth, peace, and direction. Trust is a fragile thing, and not everyone deserves access to the deepest parts of another person's life. Even close friends and family members, though loving, are still human and capable of misunderstanding or mishandling sensitive matters. In moments of vulnerability, it is easy to assume that sharing will bring comfort, but not every listening ear is prepared to handle the weight of someone else's pain. Some may dismiss struggles as insignificant, while others may react with judgment rather than compassion. This can leave a person feeling even more isolated than before, reinforcing the truth that some battles are best fought in the presence of God alone. Silence can be a source of strength. It is in those quiet moments of reflection and prayer that clarity is often found. When struggles are placed in God's hands rather than the hands of people, there is an assurance that they are being handled with care. He does not gossip, He does not judge unfairly, and He does not abandon. His presence is a safe place, a refuge where the deepest wounds can be healed without fear of betrayal or misunderstanding. It is also important to recognize that not every battle requires outside validation. The world often teaches that expressing struggles openly is a form of strength, but true strength is found in resilience, in the ability to endure hardships with faith, rather than seeking constant reassurance from others. While there is nothing wrong with seeking support, dependency on human validation can lead to disappointment. People are imperfect and may not always respond in the way that is needed, but God is constant. He is always present, always listening, and always providing comfort in ways that no person ever could. There is great peace in knowing that struggles do not have to be shared with the world to be acknowledged. They do not have to be spoken aloud for God to understand. He knows every thought, every emotion, and every hardship before a single word is uttered. His presence is enough, His love is sufficient, and His strength is greater than any human support. Some battles are meant to be fought in prayer because that is where true healing begins. When struggles are placed in God's hands rather than shared with those who may not understand, there is a freedom that cannot be found anywhere else. It is a freedom that comes from knowing that no matter how heavy the burden, it is never carried alone. Trusting in God's guidance is one of the greatest acts of faith a person can demonstrate. In a world filled with uncertainties, conflicting opinions, and countless voices pulling in different directions, it is easy to become overwhelmed by doubt. Decisions, both big and small, carry weight, and the fear of making the wrong choice can be paralyzing. But God's wisdom is perfect. His timing is flawless, and His understanding is beyond human comprehension. When faced with uncertainty, the best response is to turn to Him, seeking His wisdom, rather than relying on our own limited perspective. God knows what should be revealed and what should remain in silence. There is a time to speak and a time to withhold, a time to act and a time to wait. The challenge is discerning which path to take. And that is where divine wisdom becomes essential. Human reasoning often falls short because it is based on limited knowledge, personal experiences, and emotions that can cloud judgment. But God sees the full picture, past, present, and future. He knows what is hidden, what is coming, and what is best for His children. Trusting in His guidance means surrendering the need to have all the answers and believing that He will provide clarity in due time. Doubt is a natural part of life, but it should never overshadow faith. Many times people hesitate to move forward because they cannot see the full outcome. They want certainty before taking a step, but faith does not work that way. Faith requires believing in God's wisdom even when the path is unclear. It means trusting that He will reveal what needs to be known and protect what should remain hidden. Some things are not meant to be understood immediately. There are lessons that unfold over time, and there are moments when silence is the wisest response. God, in His infinite wisdom, shields His people from things they are not yet ready to handle. His delays are not denials, but rather acts of protection and preparation. Seeking God's wisdom requires humility. It is an acknowledgement that human knowledge is insufficient and that true understanding comes only from Him. Many times people rely on their own instincts, emotions, or the advice of others before turning to God. While counsel from trusted individuals can be valuable, it should never replace divine direction. The world is filled with opinions, but not all of them are rooted in truth. When seeking guidance, it is crucial to distinguish between worldly wisdom and godly wisdom. The former is based on human reasoning, often influenced by fear, pride, or personal agendas. The latter is grounded in eternal truth, given by the one who sees beyond the present moment. Prayer is the key to unlocking divine wisdom. It is through prayer that hearts are aligned with God's will, allowing Him to reveal what is necessary and conceal what is not. Prayer is not just about asking for answers, but also about listening. God speaks in many ways, through His Word, through the Holy Spirit, through circumstances, and sometimes through the quiet whisper of peace in the heart. But to hear Him, there must be stillness. The noise of the world can drown out His voice, making it difficult to discern His direction. That is why moments of silence and solitude are essential. In the quiet, away from distractions, God's wisdom becomes clearer. Patience is another vital aspect of trusting in God's guidance. Impatience often leads people to rush into decisions or speak prematurely before the right time. But when God calls for stillness, it is not a punishment, it is a preparation. He knows what is ahead, and His timing is always perfect. What seems like a delay may be His way of orchestrating events in the best possible way. Trusting in His timing means believing that He will open the right doors at the right time and close the ones that are not meant to be walked through. Forced decisions often lead to unnecessary struggles, but waiting on God ensures that the path taken is the right one. Trusting God's wisdom also means accepting that not everything needs to be shared. Some revelations are meant for personal growth, not for public discussion. There is wisdom in discretion. Some matters are sacred, intended to remain between an individual and God. Sharing too much too soon can invite unnecessary opposition, doubt, or misinterpretation. There are battles meant to be fought in private, lessons meant to be learned in silence, and victories meant to be celebrated in quiet gratitude. Just as God conceals certain things for a season, He also calls His people to practice restraint in what they reveal to others. Faith is tested in moments of uncertainty. It is in those moments of waiting, of questioning, and of seeking clarity that trust in God's wisdom is most needed. His ways are higher, His thoughts are greater, and His plans are always for good. Even when the road ahead is unclear, He is already there, guiding, preparing, and making a way. The heart that fully trusts in Him will never be led astray. Seeking His wisdom ensures that what is revealed comes at the right time, and that what remains hidden is for a greater purpose. In all things He is faithful, and His guidance is always enough. My dear brothers and sisters, in a world that urges you to overshare, I urge you to guard your heart. Not every ear is a listening ear. Not every voice is from God. Speak less, pray more, and trust that He will reveal what needs to be known in His perfect time. May the Lord bless you and guide you in wisdom. Amen.